Hi, everyone.
We will start soon. And we have people giving their highs to us. Johan Degger says hi. Kiran Weber says hi. Julian Gray says hello from Spain. And Sebastian, hi there. Feels like summer camp, Sebastian says. Great.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. So
All right. Thanks everyone for joining so far. Just as we're starting up, if you could maybe share where you're joining from, and if you want to, you can also share how long it's been since you did your last weekly review.
Exactly. And hello, Anders.
Oh, wow, 7 a.m. GMT. Yeah, that was a bit early.
And we have Privit from Ukraine. Privit, fun from Ukraine.
Oh, last Saturday, last weekend. All right. 2 weeks ago. A couple of months, yeah.
Yep.
Last weekly review-ish on Saturday. Does that count, Sebastian? I don't know.
And we have Ryan Malone. Woohoo! Woohoo, Ryan. Welcome.
Review was 10 days ago. Good. Oh, pretty much up to date. Not bad.
And Alexandra, she says, hi, Lars and Morten, a good one. That's question, good weekly review. The last summer camp. Okay, you're most welcome back. Yep. Yes.
All right. Well, I think most of you know this, but just to make sure, of course, when we do a weekly review, you'll want to have your capture tools nearby. You want to have your lists nearby. You want to have your calendar nearby, and in trays or in boxes, whichever you will want to work on as we go through this.
Cool. And we are now 41 people looking at this. 44 actually, just went up with 3. So welcome all, and we will start shortly. The reason we are starting is just a little bit because people will get on. Some people get up at 7 in the morning to watch this, and it is okay that we wait. And I see the numbers rising now. We are 50. Only 10 more now. We will make the global record. Come on, guys. Log on.
I guess you're talking to the people that have already logged on, Morten. So I don't know if that's...
I know. I'm just talking mentally to the people. There you see it. Now we have 2 more. It's 52 people joining now. And I say, I will see if I can add this to the broadcast. It's an important question. Kiran says, I've been doing GTD since 2007 with OmniFocus, but never done a weekly review after all these years reading. So this is finally yours. Good. Thank you, Kiran.
Fantastic, Kiran. Well, what do you think, Morten? Should we get started?
Yeah. With 51 people now, let's just get this show on the road. If people will join after, they will.
Good to see you all. And again, a quick reminder, don't forget to have nearby your capture tool, lists, calendar, and any in trays or inboxes you will want to work on as we go through this. So the way we planned to do this was the way that we have done it previously in weekly review webinars, which we used to do. We've done it as part of the summer camp as well. And the way we do it is that I try to set the pace as we go through and dedicate a number of minutes to each of these steps. I trust that you will adjust the pacing to your needs, both today and going forward as well in future weekly reviews. If you're in doubt, then stay with us and progress through so you also get a taste of each of the different steps. One of the common challenges with a weekly review is that you kind of get stuck in the get clear phase and never really get to the get current or even get creative phase. So if you're in doubt, then stick with us with the timing, and then we'll get you through all of the 11 steps here. So the structure is, as you may know it already, first of all, the get clear phase, then the get current, and then the get creative steps. We'll go through each of the steps in each of them and talk a bit about them, and then give you some minutes for each of them to work on that specific step with the time that we have together here today from, well, local time at least, is from 4 to 5:30 in Danish and Norwegian time. One slight change that I wanted to introduce to you guys today was to share the simplified clarify flow that we use today in GTD trainings through the partnership that we have with Crucial Learning. Some of you have seen this in the training. Some of you have seen it in last year's summer camp. Some of you will be familiar with it from episode 92, I think 94, 92, about clarify, clarified, where we talked a bit about this wording. So this is the one which we maybe want to try out today. There's always the one that you're familiar with from the GTD book. Perhaps give this one a try today as we walk through and try to empty some of those inboxes. So I'll put this on the screen as well, again, when we get back to the different inboxes. At least for me, one of the things that this helped me with was the difference in the wording of the question. Is there an action that needs to be taken? As some of you will be familiar with, I don't like long lists, so I want to be really careful how much I put on, and the needs part was a good thing for me to keep in mind when I clarify my inboxes. So before we start, any reflections on your end? Anything that requires special attention? Inboxes that you haven't visited in a while? Task lists that have gone stale? Projects lists that have gone a bit stale? Is there anything that most has your attention in the weekly review today? If you want to share that in the different chats. Yeah, long waiting for lists. Let's get creative. Yeah, that can happen. No, it is the YouTube chat. You might be showing up on Morten's channels or on my channel, but it is the YouTube chat, Lasse. Yeah, one question before we get started with do we do a separate weekly review for personal and professional? The answer is it's up to you. Really what you prefer. Some people do both at the same time. I'm one of those people. Some people really don't want to mix them up. They do two separate reviews. Whatever works best for you. Large projects list. Yeah. All right. Professional on Friday, private during weekends. Yeah, good tip, Fedor. All right, then let's dive straight in with the first step. First step is to get clear. The step is described as collecting loose papers and materials, gathering all those accumulated business cards, receipts, miscellaneous paper-based materials into your in-tray. So for some people, this sounds like GTD. The GTD book was written a while back, which is true, but this is still valid also in the GTD, in the digital world. So this could be your desktop or your downloads folder, for example. So there'll still be stuff in the physical world. I'll be checking my bag now to make sure that I didn't miss something in there. If you know all of that is nice and clean, then for sure go have a look at your downloads folder or your desktop or anywhere else where you know you might be piling up digital information. I had dinner with some friends from the university not too long ago, and he said that happened to his desktop, that there was too many things, so he would create a folder and call it mess and then the date, that today's date at that time. Then he would drag and put everything in there, and then that would happen again, and he would have a new mess folder with a new date. And at some point he actually got to the stage where there were too many mess folders, so he had to create a messes folder and then drag everything in there. Whatever works for you. I might take a different approach than that, but that is the first step now, to collect all of this information into different small inboxes. We won't take too long on this one, just a couple of minutes to make sure that you've gathered everything that we have. Don't have it spread out anywhere. 2 minutes starting now. Okay, the 2 minutes are up. If you finalize whatever you're doing. Like I said, I would also check my bag, and what do you know? There were 2 receipts in there going into my in tray just next to me. I delivered a crucial conversations training last week. That's one of the receipts. There was that one of the attendees was from the Mars company, and she noted that the chocolate we had available was not from the Mars company. So I had to go and buy some to make sure that day 2 was even better than than day 1. All right. The next step, if I can get PowerPoint to move on to the second step, there we go, is to getting your ins to 0. This means clarifying all of the outstanding paper materials, journal, meeting notes, voicemails, dictation, emails, whatever inboxes you have. So as we go through this, pick an inbox to work on. It could be your email, it could be your physical inbox, whatever you prefer to work on, could be any other inbox. If you're getting through one of them and getting to 0, then move on to the next one. And perhaps if you don't, if you don't have a list of your inboxes, then maybe quickly draft the main ones and start with the ones that you could access. So we'll take a bit of time for this one, and like I said earlier, I'll put the Clarify flow up on the screen now for you to work with if you want to try this one out as you go through your inboxes now. So we will have 10 minutes now for this pick an inbox to work on, physical, email, whatever one you want to work on. 10 minutes. The next 10 minutes are yours. 10 minutes starting now.
Can we do a quick question before we continue?
We can do that. Of course we can.
Yeah, we have an email.
What question do you have, Morten?
Good question. Only good questions. Elmer Thomas asks the question: what would be your approach on rebooting your weekly review, giving an extraordinary amount of inbox items? What would you answer that question?
Maybe I missed part of the question. Was it that you had quite a long list of inboxes and items in your inbox?
Yeah. So, what would be your approach on rebooting your weekly review, giving an extraordinary amount of inbox items? And Kiran says, "I'm in the same situation."
Yeah. Well, again, that happens. That happens to some people, maybe a lot of people, and it depends on how you want to approach it. So there are two things here. There's one being the current situation that we're in, and then how do we deal with that? And if this is the situation that, it's just how things are, there's nothing we can do about it, then what I typically find people doing is that, let's say they do their weekly review on a Friday morning, then Thursday afternoon, we set aside 1 hour to clear out those inboxes. So when you show up for Friday morning weekly review, then you don't have that enormous list of items in your email inboxes or whatever inbox it is that is causing the challenge. With that being said, I would be curious to see if there might be something we needed to do about the amount of items that were showing up. Either we have too many inboxes, we have too many areas of focus, we have, there's some kind of misalignment here, but that's of course, depends on the specific situation. So that would be my two starting questions. I don't know about you, Morten.
No, I'm thinking. I'm not sure this is correct, but I'm thinking that Elmer is having a lot of emails, and how do you get into the bottom of those? And if it is emails, I would go back in time, find the date that you would say that from this date and until the end of or the early days of my email inbox, I can archive, and then just archive those emails and highlight them and archive them. And then return to whatever you have left, and then process them to zero, and set aside too many, set enough time. And Elmer says too many of everything, lol. But the real issue is that it's been too long. Yeah, okay. Set aside time, Elmer, and gnaw through it. That's probably the best way. Yeah. Sorry, Lars, we didn't agree to do this. I will not do it again. I know you have a time schedule.
No problem at all. No, it's good to perhaps clarify some of these questions as we go through that now. And just one last note with the someday maybe items, so they show up later as an activity with the weekly review. When it comes to this clarify flow, you can see them as the incubate option. That would be the one that leads us to the someday maybe list. Now, the next 10 minutes. I definitely want to give you 10 minutes for this one. The next 10 minutes are yours.
They're just being very quiet.
Okay, the 10 minutes are up. If you clarify and organize that 10 minutes one last thing. You clarify and then let us move on to the last step in the get clear phase, which is to also empty your head. So this is now a great time to capture any new projects or anything that might have come up during the last week or the last 5 minutes. And make sure that we capture this. We have just clarified and organized a lot of things now. Is there anything you're reminded about? Especially, I really enjoyed this, especially when I started off with GTD, and just give yourself 2 minutes, 5 minutes to look out the window and see what shows up, and be sure to capture that. And once you feel it's getting pretty empty in there, then you can clarify and organize those into the system so you have a great up-to-date current system to run through next. So the next 3 minutes are yours. Capture anything that might show up, and when you feel the need, clarify and organize them into your system. 3 minutes starting now. if you capture that last thought. Then we will move into the next phase, which is called get current. So this is where we run through the system and make sure that everything is as we want it to be. And the first step here is to review your next actions list. So as you run through them, perhaps you'll notice that I actually completed some of these, but didn't have a chance to check them off yet. Well, great. Now is the time to check them off. If you do so, be sure to see if there's anything else you then need to capture in your system. Perhaps you send something off to someone and you want to make sure you follow up, and then we would capture that on a waiting for list or whatever else shows up. So making sure that these action lists actually give you the menu of options that you want to see when you sit down to work based on the context of that specific lists. So the next 6 minutes will be yours to run through your next actions list. If you spot anything interesting or notice anything, be sure to share it in the chat. 6 minutes starting now. Okay, the 6 minutes are up. Let's move on to the next step, which is the first one where we revisit whatever's in your calendar. And we start off by looking back in your calendar to see if we might be reminded of something. So we want to go through these, see if something shows up. It could be that you promised to send something to someone else, but you forgot to do so, or they promised to send you something, but they haven't done yet. So you maybe want to capture that on a waiting for list, or could be that you completely missed the meeting because you were so busy and you wanted to reschedule that, but didn't get to do that yet. So it's a great safety net. It saved me many times. I highly recommend this. Looking back, perhaps back to your last weekly review time. So run through that and see if you're reminded about something. So we'll go through this. We'll just spend 3 minutes looking back in your calendar. 3 minutes, starting now. Okay, that was 3 minutes to look back in your calendar, and we will stick with the calendar, but now looking ahead in what's upcoming in your calendar. So these are different events, and you can look as far ahead in your calendar as you prefer. Many people will have a, last week, this week, and next week approach to your weekly review. Some people will look 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead, and maybe sometimes you'll do a longer review where you look even further ahead. Whatever you prefer, whatever fits your weekly review right now. That is the starting point. So we want to see what's coming up. Deadlines may be approaching, bigger events, closing up on the end of the year as we record this. So if there's anything you're reminded of that you may want to capture in your system, now is a good time to do it. So the next, let me see, 5 minutes. Next 5 minutes will be yours looking forward in your calendar. 5 minutes starting now. Okay, that was the 5 minutes available for reviewing your upcoming calendar. Moving on to the next step. Now it's time to review your waiting for list. So see if there are any, actions that you need to take to follow up with people. So let's say someone have been on your list for quite a while, and now you think now is the appropriate time for me to follow up with them. And you can perhaps do that if it takes less than 2 minutes, or if not, then capture that on one of your action lists to give the client a call, give the colleague a call, whatever it might be. And of course, if they don't need to be on that list anymore, then be sure to check them off and of course capture any new next actions that might show up. You were waiting for that report to come back from your colleague. Now it's back. Now what's your next action? Capture that in your next action list. Let us take 4 minutes now to review your waiting for list. 4 minutes starting now. Okay, the 4 minutes are up for the waiting for review. Next, we get to your projects list and really do a solid review and really think through them. So evaluate the different projects. Perhaps also visit your support material. I'll sometimes find some things that I need to see at some point in the stage of the project. So this is a great time as well now to go in and revisit some of that support material if you have the time. This is also where you might want to look at some of the larger outcome lists. So if you have worked with the horizons of focus in GTD and you have perhaps sort of longer term goals, then this could be a time for you to revisit that. Or perhaps you could do like me. I'm planning to do the higher horizon reviews between Christmas and New Year. So I've just looked ahead in my calendar and saw that waiting for me. So looking forward to that one. But for now, time to review your projects list, making sure that it reflects reality. Maybe some things need to be parked, delegated, put on hold, whatever it might be for you. The next 11 minutes are yours for the projects list. 11 minutes starting now. Okay, that was the 11 minutes for the projects list review. Some of you commented that this might not be enough time, and I may agree with you. That will be one of the final questions for today. Is there anything you need to set aside more time for? And perhaps this could be one of the steps. We'll talk about that at the end. For now, we want to go through to the last step in the get current phase before we move on to the get creative step. And this is the step where we review any sort of relevant checklists. Are there any checklists that you need to integrate or have in your weekly review? This could be a reminder to rethink and reflect. Perhaps if there's anything you need to include in your weekly review, feel free to adjust and make it your own. We definitely recommend that. These are the standard steps that we walk through. But for example, for me, when do I want to work from home next week? Is there anything I need to double check in the calendar so I work from home specific days? Or when do I need to plan my runs? I don't have specific days where I go for runs, so I want to plan them every week. That's part of my weekly review in this step now, to go through and make sure that I have that in my calendar for the coming. It could be something completely different for you, whatever checklists you have in your system, whatever you need. The next 3 minutes are yours to go through that, or perhaps come up with something that you might want to include in your review. It can be a great motivator to have some of these things in there for your next weekly review. 3 minutes starting now. Okay, the 3 minutes are up for the checklists. The next step for us is to move on to get creative. And this is where we get to have fun and revisit the someday maybe list that we may have generated over time. So now the thinking is that we've just gone through the get current phase, meaning we have a good grasp of what we're working on right now. We know the calendar, we know what's coming up. Perhaps now is the time to activate some of those cool projects, cool ideas that you placed on your someday maybe list at some point because you didn't have the time or whatever the reason was. Perhaps now is the right time. The next 3 minutes are yours again to review your someday maybe list. The 3 minutes are up, which means that we are at the last step in the get creative phase and in the weekly review, which is called be creative and courageous. So the way I like to describe it is that, you've just gone through your system. We've captured everything. There's nothing left ideally in our heads. Next step is we run through the system. We have a good grasp of what's going on right now. And we just completed a review of what we might want to engage with at some point, which is the someday maybe list. Now, is there anything that shows up? Is there any sort of crazy ideas that sort of been waiting for you out there, but you've sort of been missing the control feeling needed for you to then, capture that cool idea? Now is the time to just spend another maybe 2 minutes looking at the window or wherever you want to look and see if any cool ideas show up. 2 minutes for this last step. 2 minutes starting now. Okay, the last 2 minutes are up. We made it. You made it all the way through the 11 steps of the weekly review.
Woo!
Woo! Now is the time for that good chocolate that you have waiting for you, or however you want to reward yourself. We can officially support that from a no, maybe not anything, but if you can place a reward at the end of the weekly review, whatever helps you get motivated to the next one, happy to support that. So I'm curious to hear, how did it go? What went well? What could have done better? Anything you still need to do that we need to schedule time for? Perhaps you didn't get all the way through the projects list that we spoke about. Anything you noticed by doing this together with others? Was there a different way? Was a comment as well about replaying this in a future, weekly review and walking through the steps this way as well. Yeah, great option to do that. What did you notice? What happened when you did the weekly review now? Do we need the recording? Might it happen again? Morten and I spoke about that, and we don't yet know. So for now, we can leave it up. But it's at least from my perspective, it's been a lot of fun. Nice to hang out with everyone. Would love to do it again. Don't know when, but for now, we at least we have the recording. Clean up quite some stuff. Happy to hear that, because that is, it's a big thing, and that's really a big part of the weekly review, is to get through all of that, because we want to make that system so appealing and attractive for you to use. And if it's just full of old stuff, then you don't want to engage with it. And yes, OmniFocus has a review feature. that is also true. Quite a bit behind, and it's really nice to make some progress. Happy to hear that. Good, Henrik.
Lars?
And it was useful. And yes, Morten?
If you look at the Zoom now, you can see I'm adding some of the comments to the slide.
Yes, you are. And I am not seeing that because I'm sharing my screen. So okay. I can't really see them.
Okay.
But I'll let you jump in.
No, I don't know if I'm reading something you already said, but Higher Rotting says, I love it too. Would be nice to have this personal experience. We'd like to do it again. Right? Yeah. Great. And it's possible just to rewind and do it again, or if you, on popular demands, let's say on LinkedIn, ask us, can you do it again? Maybe we would. We will see. So we have one from Henrik Tolund Andersen saying that it was great. I was quite behind on this, and it was really nice to do some progress. Woohoo!
Yeah, and he commented later on that he already had the chocolate before we started. So that's one way to do it as well. It gets you going. Maybe that works. Yeah. Maybe buy 2 chocolates next time, Henrik. So you have one at the start and one at the end. Yeah. And some reflections on times being very busy, more frequent reviews. Yeah, absolutely. And requests for us to do it again.
Yeah. It's a very busy time of the year. I need more frequent reviews, and that's a very Stephen Habe. He has a very good insight there. Is that the more busy you are, the more often you need to do them. So we are saying that when you ask people how often should I do a review, well, as often as you must, to feel good about what you're not doing right now, and but at least once a week.
And it's really tricky, right? Because the more you have to do, the less you want to stop doing and sit down and reflect, right? So it becomes even more critical, and it's even harder when things are like that. It's not easy.
We have a question from Carlos. He asks, I haven't spent much time in getting creative. Should I project folder for those ideas? Should I have a project folder? Probably. That is the someday maybe, or I would guess would be the answer to that.
Yeah. I would say the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hans from Germany say all papers done clean, desk clean, and waiting for list almost empty. Woohoo!
Woo.
Tim House says thank you for doing this. Ryan
It's
Malone
time
says,
to go and create some new stuff.
Yeah,
You're waiting for a list is empty. Now
yeah, go make something.
make it up, make it happen. Yeah.
Yes. Ryan Malone
Sorry,
says, thank you so much for this, guys. Appreciate it. You're most welcome, all of you. And Hans says, I'm doing a weekly review with a summer camp buddy this Friday, so twin a week, I will be so ready for Christmas. Yes, you will, Hans. The best Christmas ever. And guys, while you're here, if you want to, please press like on where you are, so that and subscribe if you want. But if you like, that would be good. A lot of other people will then find this video later. And Haya says probably I should come to the summer camp. Haha, and that's nothing. And that's not a laughable matter. You should. That's an invite.
It should open in a week or so, a bit less with the signups. So go to gtdsummercamp.com to learn.
Yeah, and Geir says, so which one of you won the streaming competition? I don't know, to be honest. Who had the most viewers? I haven't been paying attention to that. I'm only seeing the everything in one place here in my dashboard here. So I'm sorry, we can't call a winner. Maybe we can after
I
the
think
fact.
we're also more curious to see if we actually beat the summer camp record rather than who showed up where. But I think at least there was one person who mentioned that the Outlook had placed this as 7 a.m. GMT. So we might have missed some people that showed up very early this morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry for that. We will look into that if we do it again. Yeah. So what we are not doing the streaming competition. So we have people saying, do it again. And will this session be on YouTube? Yes, it will. It will be exactly as it was recorded. Very tricky to do this on workday in the office, Sebastian says, and since we know who Sebastian is, we also know that of course that would be very tricky, but it's not workday for you anymore, I guess. It's more afternoon. So Carlos says thank you. Christian says great session, very enjoyable, guys. Well, we enjoyed hanging out with you too, so thank you. And Hans again, the summer camp sign up sheet that is still in there. Yeah. And he also says, find your tribe. And you guys, you are our tribe. We love hanging out with you. And and I don't know, Jay Scratle. I'm sorry, I'm killing your your handle here, but looking for a weekly review buddy virtual. I'm located in Germany, so if any of you want to have that, I don't know if it's possible to connect after the fact, but if you can do. Steven says, thank you so much, Lars and Morten. You're most welcome, Steven. See you next time. Henrik says, next year, don't plan summer camp during the same weekend as the Heartland Festival. Okay.
We'll do our best, Henrik.
Yeah.
Right. I think, Morten, looking at the timing, we also have to wrap up for everyone.
Yeah.
And just wanted to add this one. Any reviewing is better than none at all. Don't let yourself keep from getting back in the game because you don't feel like you're doing it 100%. So a small weekly review is better than none at all. So for those of you where it's been a while, see if you can hang on. Now we got you a bit back up on the horse. See if you can hang on in a week's time. And if times are busy, then just a small review is better than none at all. So be sure to keep that in mind. any last words from you other than a big thank you from me to everyone? So much fun to do this, and I certainly hope we get to do this again.
Yeah, me too. And the jury is in with the final number. We did not, this time beat the biggest weekly review ever, which was around 60 people. We came to 55 at the most on both our channels. So next time, take a neighbor, grab a friend. Or a colleague, or your wife, or your spouse, and join us. Okay, but good hanging out with you guys.
We have to do this again.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, for sure. And as I always say, until next time, stay safe and stay productive. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.